Hey there, Mike Robbins here, coming to you live later in the day in the week than I normally do, I guess. It's Wednesday, 4 o'clock, the 22nd of December, as I'm recording this live. If you're joining live from wherever on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, would love to hear from you. Just feel free to type into the comments where you are, how you are, what's going on. If you're watching the video of this after, you can do the same. I wasn't planning to come live this week with the holidays and everything going on, but I just decided I wanted to jump on here briefly and share a few thoughts. I had an interesting and intense experience over the weekend that got me thinking, and I threw my back out on Saturday. I was doing some yoga here in my office early in the morning and did a pose, and something tweaked, and all of a sudden I was like, "Ooh, that was weird," and ended up flat on my back all weekend in an enormous amount of pain. I mean, I've tweaked my back before and had a bunch of injuries over the years with sports and otherwise, but this was like, I don't ever remember experiencing anything quite like this. I mean, just to give you a sort of insight into it, Sunday night, so early Monday morning, I wake up at like 2 a.m. You know, I tweaked my back, almost 48 hours before, and I was in so much pain. I like crawled out of bed. I just instinctively felt like I had to get out of bed. I needed to get somewhere else, downstairs, on the couch, on my back. I don't know, but I couldn't get comfortable in bed. And I I was literally in tears, like crying. I woke Michelle up. She was scared, like, "Babe, do I need to take you to the emergency room?" And I'm like, "I don't know." But all I could do in an enormous amount of pain was on all fours crawl out of our bedroom, down the hall. I got to the top of the stairs. I don't even know how I made it, rolled over on my back and just laid there for like 15 minutes to kind of catch my breath and for the pain to subside a little bit. And then somehow or another, mostly using my arms, made it down the stairs, onto the couch, tried to read a little, tried to watch a little TV, just like eventually got a little bit of sleep, not a ton, but was meditating and was really reflecting. And the whole weekend was, it was humbling, to say the least. It was painful and scary. I mean, thankfully I feel much better now. I went and saw my chiropractor Monday and Tuesday of this week, and he did some magic on me. I saw a chiropractor that was open on Saturday, and I was grateful he got me in, but wasn't really able to provide me the support that I needed. But I share all of this because as I was thinking about this over the weekend, and maybe you've experienced something like this physically or otherwise, it's like, whoa, when something like your back goes out on you, it's like, oh, everything stops. Everything, you just have to kind of clear the decks and focus on that. And here we are. It's almost Christmas. We're about to get to New Year's. It's the end of this intense, turbulent year on the heels of an incredibly intense and turbulent year last year. And now we're learning more about the Omicron variant and the spike in COVID all over the country, around the world. And it's thanks, John. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm glad to be feeling better. But there was this sense that I had personally this weekend of just being humbled by the pain, being humbled by the fragility of walking around in a body, the vulnerability of that. And, even though I knew rationally, like, okay, I tweaked my back, it seemed weird the way that I did it. Like, I was having a hard time. And Michelle kept saying to me, it's not about the yoga. Like, I know you did it doing yoga, but this is like an accumulation of stress, of fear, of a lot that's been going on. Like, just listen to your body, take a break, allow yourself to just breathe and read and like ask for help. And, so I was trying to reflect on it that way, but I was in so much pain. It was really hard. And again, even though rationally I knew this will subside at some point, I don't know if it's going to take a couple days or maybe, God forbid, a couple weeks, but like, I've dealt with enough physical pain in my life and different injuries that they do get better. Right. I mean, I've had surgery on my arm 4 times, and like, when you wake up from the surgery, it seems like I'm never going to be able to use this thing again, let alone try to throw a baseball 90 miles an hour. Um, but there was that irrational fear that I think sometimes we have when we get hurt or sick, that like, maybe this will never go away. And it was humbling, not being able to do simple things, just getting around the house and making meals for myself, or going to the bathroom, or walking out to pick up the newspaper, or getting in the car to drive to the store. I mean, the basic stuff, not anything extraordinary, not, running 5 miles or, doing any kind of workout or anything. But then with COVID, And then the reality to some degree that it seems like we're not out of the woods here yet, and more's coming, and the progress that we've made, or seeming like we were turning the corner, kind of like back in the spring and early summer when it seemed like we were turning the corner, and then the Delta variant showed up and it changed the game. It just had me realize that by its nature, life can be incredibly humbling. And yeah, that there's a certain sort of negative connotation to that. But I actually think that um, there's a way in which we can embrace this that can be positive, right? Being humbled by life doesn't just mean, oh, I'm humbled like on my knees, crawling on the floor at 2 a.m. because I'm in so much pain. I mean, that's one aspect, but sometimes I'm humbled by the beauty of life, the blessings of life, oh my gosh, I have this amazing woman that I'm married to and who I love and who is just, how did that happen? Like, wow, these incredible children, this work that I love, this health that I have, or this place that I live. So we can be humbled and in awe in a positive way. We can also be humbled in more of kind of a negative way, but it's not so much negative. It's just remembering and being reminded of that life is fragile, things can change in all kinds of ways. I've been listening to some podcasts recently and some interviews. I was listening to Anderson Cooper actually talk about his mother, Gloria Vanderbilt, who passed away within the last year or two. And he was talking about what an eternal optimist she was. And that he said, she would say, like, the phone can ring and your life can change in an instant. And Anderson, sort of joking about himself being more of a pessimist, he's like, yeah, I know the phone could ring and your life could change in an instant. And it's like, the way he was saying it and the way she was saying it, she was saying it like something incredible could happen. And he was saying like something horrible could happen. And both are true. But that's the uncertain, humbling nature of life, right? I was on the floor Saturday morning doing an activity it's a healthy, positive activity. I was doing yoga, which I do, among other reasons, because I have a sore lower back and it usually helps strengthen and stretch my back. And guess what? I ended up flat on my back for 48 hours in excruciating pain. Right? 2 years ago at the end of 2019, we were wrapping up the year and holidays and thinking about, what's 2020 gonna bring, and I was all excited like I often am at this time of year, and, okay, I think 2020 is gonna be a great year, and we all know what happened. We don't know what's coming. That's both exciting and terrifying at the same time. I was watching a clip of an interview that Trevor Noah did on 60 Minutes over the weekend. It aired. He was talking to Leslie Stahl on 60 Minutes, and he said she was commenting on him being authentic and seeming like he was the same person on screen as off screen. And he said to her, well, it's not always been the case, basically, but you caught me at a good time in life. Like, and she's like, why is that? And he's like, well, among other things, COVID has taught me, like many of us, that anything can happen. Like, we don't know what's coming. And so I think there's a way in which we can embrace this. Teresa, thanks for joining. Merry Christmas to you. I appreciate the kind words. Like, can we embrace this humbling nature of life, that we don't know what's coming around the corner? Again, we can use that as evidence to freak ourselves out, or we can use it as this equalizing factor of like, I'm going to enjoy the ride of life for as long as I get to live it, for whatever happens. Speaking of interviews that I've listened to or seen, a number of months ago, I listened to Van Jones talk to Ariana Huffington on her podcast, and he was saying, they were talking about this beautiful metaphor. Maybe I've shared this here before, but that life is like a train. We're all on the train. We're all basically headed to the same ultimate destination, right? Death and whatever comes after it, right? And we don't know exactly when we're going to get there. So some of us will be on the train longer than others, right? But we're all headed there. And along the way, the scenery outside changes a lot. Sometimes it's beautiful and sunny and it's gorgeous. Sometimes it's a little dark and gloomy. Sometimes it's stormy. Sometimes it snows. Sometimes it rains. Sometimes it's windy. Sometimes it's more, all the different changes of scenery. And it's like our job, as Van and Ariana were talking about, is to enjoy and appreciate the scenery. So there was a little part of me, and again, look, I was in the throes of pain this weekend. I was not doing well. I did not enjoy it. I do not want to experience that. But there was a part of me that was appreciating it, if that makes not appreciating like in a, "Yay, isn't this great?" But, "Wow, isn't this interesting? Can I embrace this experience to some degree at least?" And it wasn't easy to do, but it's like, "Wow, okay, this is where I am on the ride at this moment." And I feel like this last year, the year before, a lot of what we've all been dealing with is the roller coaster ride of life in a very intense way, and with some challenging surroundings at the macro level of what's happening. But being able to really embrace the humbling nature of life is important. So I recorded a podcast this morning that I think I'll post tomorrow, but I want to talk about a couple things that I was thinking about and that I wrote down and talked about on the podcast. So like, what can we do with this? How can we deal with this more effectively, or navigate this with a little more grace, a little more elegance, if you will, in the midst of everything? I think the first thing we can do is just be real about how we feel, be real about what's going on, tell the truth about our real experience, right? Like, the truth sets us free, as I think that comes from the Bible, right? So just be real with our feelings, be real with what's going on, be real with whatever the experience is, what we're actually, what's going on for us in any given moment. Because being able to transform our experience starts from acknowledging what's actually happening. The second thing we can do is be present. Be present. I mean, one thing about pain, one thing about fear is it does bring us into the present moment. Now we can start tripping out about it, future tripping and creating all kinds of fear stories. And what if this and what if that, that takes us out of the present moment. But experiencing real emotion, whether it's fear or joy, whether it's sadness or love, whether it's gratitude or anger, it brings us into the present moment. Like this weekend, when I was writhing in pain at 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday night, early Monday morning, and crawling down, the hallway upstairs here at my house, I was present. I didn't love what I was present to or what was happening in my body at the moment, but I was present. There was no like thinking about next week or last week, or remember when my daughter said this weird thing to me, or remember that weird thing that happened with the client, or what are they, but how many books did we sell? None of that was going on in my head. It was literally just get to the stairs. But can we be present? So let's hope it doesn't take physical or emotional or mental pain to get us present. There are a lot of ways to get present. We can meditate, we can journal, we can feel our emotions, express our emotions, but bring ourselves into the present moment, because right here, right now, you and I are okay. Yes, there's a pandemic going on. Yes, there's a lot happening. Yes, it's the holidays and Christmas is coming in 2 days and New Year's is coming in 9 days or whatever it is. And, there's end of the year this, and there's, quarterly goals, and there's, pressures, and, bank accounts and college funds and all the stuff. There's life, right? There's life. There's our health and well-being. There's our relationships. There's what's happening politically and socially. There's, racism, and I mean, you on and on and on. And in this moment, right here, right now, as you're watching this or listening to this, as I'm talking right into the little camera on my computer, we're fine. We're okay. Doesn't mean everything's perfect, but if life happens in the present moment, where we have power is in the present moment, where we can make choices and changes, where we can have insights, where we can take action, where we can express love and gratitude is in the present moment. It's not in the past. It's not in the future. It's right here, right now. And then the third thing we can do is trust. Yeah, trust ourselves, definitely trust other people. Those are both challenging, but one of the hardest things I find for me, and especially in the midst of this pandemic, is to trust life. Trust that life is unfolding as it is meant to some degree. Now, I'm not trying to get all Pollyanna about it per se, but like there's a concept in psychology we call basic trust, which basically means the universe, the world around us is safe. And I have struggled with this for much of my life, to be honest, for a variety of reasons, temperamentally, family, where I grew up, how I grew up, but just, and I've worked on this a lot. And it's come up over the course of the pandemic. It's challenging for me. It's like, can we trust that like we're going to be okay? Things are unfolding. Look, and at some level, on a fatalistic sort of human physical level, like we know at some point we're all going to die. So there's that reality. Everything that's alive right now is going to die. That's just the nature of the right, the natural evolution of living things. Now, how long and what's the form and how what is it? We don't know. But can we trust that there is something bigger happening? Maybe you have spiritual beliefs that reinforce this. Maybe you don't, but it doesn't. Can we trust there's some power, there's some force in the universe around this universal intelligence, if you will, that's got our back? And if we can tap into that, that is the manifestation of this notion of we're all in this together, we're all interconnected, which we have experiences in life that reinforce that, but then there's also definitely experiences or examples of things that go against that. But that's something that we can all lean on. And in some weird way, one of the blessings for me of the pandemic has been and continues to be that again, we're all in this same storm, even though we may be in our own various boats and different experiences. So I feel humbled based on my experience this past weekend and what's going on with the pandemic. I feel sad and scared for sure, but I also feel hopeful and connected in a way that we will continue to navigate through this and make our way through it. I mean, if you'd have told me 21 months ago that this would go on and last this long and everything would happen, I wouldn't have believed you. And if I even believed you, I wouldn't have thought I or you or any of us would have been able to survive this. And yeah, it's been bumpy. It's been challenging. I've got lots of bruises and bumps and scars myself from this experience, as I'm sure you do. And I feel incredibly blessed to be healthy and connected with my family and still able to do my work in this modified way. But it's been and continues to be a humbling time. That doesn't have to be all bad. In fact, there's a beautiful side to it if we can really embrace it. So thanks for watching this either live or the video after. I wish you a Merry Christmas if you celebrate. I wish you a Happy New Year. I will probably come on sometime next week to talk a little bit about year-end completion stuff, which is one of my favorite things to talk about. And then the following week, year creation. As we move into the new year, I do have a sense of hopefulness, even with the fear and the dread and the concern that I have going into 2022. But I'm grateful for you. Thanks for being connected with me on social and for watching these videos when I post them. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I'll talk to you soon.